All right, meeting is now streaming.
Great.
Live on YouTube. Yeah, I see it. All right, we'll give it a minute.
12:29, 1 minute.
No.
No, that's not giving me. That's really weird.
Okay. Ready to start.
Great.
All right, I'd like to welcome you all to our annual Archer-Epler Memorial Day service. As many of you know, because of social distancing and everything, we're trying this on a virtual platform instead of our normal live in front of the post. Just to let you know that today's flag is that of Frank McCormick, which is the father of our own Debbie Hines, and a few other people. Lloyd Spangler, who is 95 years old, will be our taps player today. He's from the original Junior Musketeer Corps. Donson Brushkin will be on the echo. And before we get started, I'd like to thank Bill Ives for putting all this together. And now we'll start. I'll introduce Commander Robert Gorman, who is Commander of the American Legion. Bob?
Thank you, Chaz. I just want everybody to know, even though you can't see me, I am wearing my Legion cap and my Legion shirt. Comrades, this day is sacred with the almost visible presence of those who have gone before us. We honor the memory of those who gave their lives in the service of our country and of those others who have dropped their burden by the wayside of life and are gone to their eternal rest. May the ceremonies of today deepen our reverence for our departed friends and comrades. Let us renew our pledge of loyalty to our country and its flag. Let us resolve by word and deed to emphasize the privilege and duty of patriotism. At this time, the chaplain would offer a prayer, but our chaplain was unable to make it, so I will say a short prayer. Let us pray, Almighty God, giver of all victories.
Attention,
We thank thee
uncover.
for the opportunities. Hello?
Attention, uncover.
Oh, yes, thank you. Uncover. Yes. We thank thee for the opportunities which abide in our land, for thy guidance in our hour of peril, and thy tender love in times of need. Help us to remember with reverence the valor and devotion of those of our departed comrades, not only those whose bodies consecrate our country's soil, but also those who sleep beyond the seas and others whose resting places will not be known until the last day when the deep shall give up its dead. Amen. Recover. At this point, I would ask the Senior Vice Commander to place a wreath on the monument in front of the post, following which the Junior Vice Commander would place the American flag, and then the adjutant would place a small bunch of poppies, and that would conclude the American Legion services. I'll now turn it back to VFW Commander Chaz Kaufman.
Thank you, Commander. As long as two comrades survive, so long will the veterans of foreign wars of the United States render tribute to our heroic dead. Comrades, attention. On this day, forever consecrated to our heroic dead, we are assembled once again to express sincere reverence. This monument represents the resting places of many departed comrades who served in all wars. Wherever the body of a comrade lies, there the ground is hallowed. Our presence here is in solemn commemoration of all these men, an expression of our tribute to their devotion to duty, to their courage and patriotism. By their services on land, on sea, and in the air, they have made us their debtors. for the flag of our nation still flies over the land of the free people. Parade rest. Comrade Chaplain, you will ask the divine blessing.
Eternal and ever-loving God, we thank you for the
Uncover.
privilege of meeting on this hallowed day in this free nation to honor our noble dead and to rededicate our lives to you and our country. We thank you that we're permitted to live through days of challenge, for the hours of testing of our loyalty to our national heritage, and for our devotion to the high ideals for which others have lived and died. Bless, O God, the thousands of disabled veterans in our hospitals today, and also the homeless veterans in our land. Relieve pain, ease their suffering, and give them cheer and hope. Help us to respond gladly and generously to their needs of body and spirit. We pray for our men who may still be in prisons in a strange and foreign land. Give them the courage in the face of hopelessness and comfort in the midst of loneliness. On this day of sacred memory, we ask for grace and power to live truer lives, to be better servants of the living God, finer fathers and mothers, nobler sons and daughters, and more loyal citizens of this great country and of your world. Lord, grant that we may yet see the day when war and fear of war shall no longer be, the day when peace shall become our common possession, the day when your will shall be done on earth as it is in heaven. O Lord, hear our prayer for our sakes. Amen.
Amen. Attention, cover. Attention, officers and members of Post 979, Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States. We will now pay our respects to our departed comrade. In so doing, we offer solemn tribute to all comrades wherever they may rest. Comrade Senior Vice Commander would place the wreath at the monument and say these words. On behalf of Post 979, Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States, I place this symbol of our remembrance. The Junior Vice Commander would then step to the left side of the grave and holds and say the following words. I place this symbol of purity on this comrade's grave. May each future generation emulate the unselfish courage of all men and women who fought for freedom. The junior place the flowers and returns to his spot. On behalf of our generous republic, for whose integrity our comrades enlist and serve, I place the symbol of the nation, the flag of our country, was theirs to defend. Its glorious colors shall wave over them in death as in life, for everyone to behold. To the comrades who have departed, we render a silent salute. Attention, salute. Ready? 2. Okay, we will now have the reading of our deceased comrades for this year. Bert Taylor, Drum and Bugle Corps. John Weeks, VFW and American Legion. Ralph Winberg, Drum and Bugle Corps. Al Cavallo, Drum and Bugle Corps. Ernie Tronsoliti, VFW. Diana Cottrell, Drum and Bugle Corps. Margaret Curley, American Legion. Mary Jo Corrado, Drum and Bugle Corps. Bob Curran, Drum and Bugle Corps. Mel Myers, VFW. We will now have taps played by Lloyd Spangler. Attention. Johnson. Evidently, we lost our echo. Echo taps would have normally been performed at this time, but something electronic, this is electronics. We're new to this. So I will now turn over to Commander Gorman for any remarks.
Thank you, Ches. At this point, I would usually speak about the origin and the real meaning of Memorial Day, but we don't have time to do that. I would also always mention that at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we should pause in what we're doing to remember those who have passed away and to reflect on the real meaning of Memorial Day. Perhaps today at 3 o'clock, we could go on the computers and look up the origin and the meaning of Memorial Day. I hope we're able to do that. At this point, it is my privilege to introduce a member of the United States Congress. I would like to introduce the representative of the 5th District, the Honorable Mary Gay Scanlon.
Thank you, Commander. Thank you for allowing me to participate in your Memorial Day program this year. I believe this is the second year I've had the honor of attending with Archer-Epler, VFW, and American Legion. As you know, Memorial Day used to be called Decoration Day because in the first years after the Civil War, thousands of Americans came together to honor the fallen by decorating the graves of 20,000 soldiers from both armies at Arlington National Cemetery. Since that time, Americans of all faith and political views have shared the responsibility to honor the sacrifice of our men and women in uniform in service to our shared American values. Yesterday, my family joined the Friends of Mount Moriah and a group of Vietnam veterans to decorate the graves of veterans at Mount Moriah Cemetery. For those of you who don't know, Mount Moriah sits at the intersection of Philadelphia and Delaware County, and it reflects the history of our country. It's the resting place of hundreds who served our country, including more than 20 Medal of Honor recipients, dating all the way back to the Revolutionary War. It also reflects our nation's progress and diversity, in the final resting place of some of the first African Americans to serve in our armed forces. When I received the invitation to participate in today's service, it came with a history of Archer-Epler, VFW, and American Legion Post, including the brave soldiers for whom it's named. Private Joseph Archer and Private William Epler both died in the fall of 1918 during the final campaign to win World War I. My great uncle, Bob Scanlon, served with them as a member of the American Expeditionary Force in World War I, and he too was killed in battle that fall. on October 13th, 1918, in France. This is my Uncle Bob just before he shipped out, and this is the Gold Star medal that his mother kept, along with a letter from the priest with his regiment who wrote to my grandmother after he died, praising Great Uncle Bob's courage and her sacrifice in giving a noble boy for the noblest cause, the freedom of humanity. This year, as we pay our respects to all our fallen veterans and pray for their families, sadly, our hearts are heavy as we also mourn the deaths of nearly 100,000 Americans from COVID-19. One of the hardest parts of this pandemic is that it has hit our seniors the hardest. And in recent days, we have lost, just in this region alone, dozens of who survived the battlefield only to succumb to this insidious virus. But as trying as this health emergency is, we have also seen our community rise to meet this new challenge as we recognize the courageous service of patriots from every generation who made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our nation and our freedoms. We also honor our Day heroes, many of whom are veterans, because they never stopped serving their community, whether in the medical profession, as first responders or other essential workers, or community volunteers helping their neighbors. On this Memorial Day, we give thanks for our shared American values and our willingness to come together in the common defense, whether against foreign enemies or public health threats, as we honor those who've made the ultimate sacrifice for their friends and neighbors. We also give thanks for the American ingenuity and adaptability that's allowing us to honor our fallen heroes virtually, while we look forward to the day when we celebrate their memory in person. I have every faith that we will overcome this challenge, as we have so many others, and that we will do so together. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Scanlon. Now I'd like to introduce our own State Representative, Margot Davidson. Margot?
Yes, thank you, Commander. And thank you, everyone that is gathered here. Thank you to my Congresswoman, Mary Gay Scanlon. I knew she would do an excellent job of doing the history of Memorial Day. She is such a scholar, and so I'm glad that part has been taken care of. I am honored and privileged to be here, as I almost always am on Memorial Day. I choose to spend this day with all of you, and I'm usually right there at Archer-Epler, and now I'm with you virtually. This year, I am just thrilled to be joined by so many honorable and distinguished group of female leaders who have joined us today, female elected leaders who were not in office when I first started coming to Archer-Epler to celebrate the lives of our heroes. The fact that they are here today is a testament to the sacrifice of those who have gone before us and made the ultimate sacrifice. Today, comrades, I am wearing the hat of my son, Navy Chief Nadar Baker. He is currently deployed, and he has been deployed for the last 6 months, to the fact that so many families have had to wait for loved ones, had to find out that they were lost on the battlefield, how heart-wrenching that was, but how proud they are of the service of their loved ones. My grandson, Vincent Baker, is also just been deployed to Japan in the U.S. Marines. And in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, this is the silent enemy that we fight today. And so we don't know how our heroes will fare in the battle and even this current battle. But we know that we honor them today and each and every day for their sacrifice, and especially those who have made already the ultimate sacrifice. And so it is my honor and my privilege to stand with you today whether virtually or in person, to honor the lives of our heroes. And I thank you very much for allowing me to have this moment to speak with you today.
Thank you, Margot. Now I'd like to introduce Delaware County Council Vice Chair, Dr. Monica Taylor.
Good afternoon. On behalf of my colleagues on County Council, Chairman Brian Zidek, and Council members Kevin Madden, Elaine Schaefer, and Christine Ruther, thank you for allowing County Council to be a part of this online tribute. It is an honor to recognize the brave men and women who have served our country. Every year on Memorial Day, many of our citizens gather in communities throughout Delaware County to commemorate those who paid dearly with their lives in defense of our nation to protect our lives and liberty. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, those tributes can't take place in person. We commend those who organized this online tribute in honor of your fellow brothers and sisters in the military. Delaware County Council is proud to honor our active military and veterans throughout the year. We have a military tribute board in the library of the Government Center and Media, which displays the names and photos of active military from Delaware County. When we add a new name and photo to the board, we invite family and friends to be a part of the ceremony. If you have a loved one who is actively serving in the military, we invite you to join us in honoring them. The county also has a display case in the lobby of the Government Center with artifacts from various wars. There's also a POW, MIA chair in memory of prisoners of war and those missing in action. When restrictions are lifted and it's safe to visit the Government Center, I invite all of you to come out and visit this display. Throughout the year, Council raises a military flag on the flagpoles at the Government Center and Courthouse to commemorate the branch of military recognized on its establishment date. These are just some of the ways in which Council is proud to honor our active military, our veterans, and those who have lost their lives while serving and protecting our nation. This Memorial Day, although our circumstances are much different, we urge all residents to remember those who served and protected our lives and liberty. Let us remain grateful to them and appreciative of their sacrifices. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Now I'd like to introduce Upper Darby Township Council President, Laura Wentz. And without her, most of this would not be happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chaz, Commander Chaz. Thank you guys for having me. It's been an honor to be working with you. I actually met you for the first time through an event that State Representative Margot Davidson had. And without her, I would have never gotten connected with you. So I am thrilled to be able to be here and to assist you guys on this program. I also want to thank you all for taking part in our first ever Black History Month Veterans Expo that took place on February 19th. It was excellent to have you guys there. It was an honor to have you there and taking part in the Call of Colors during our council meeting when we could actually meet in person. So Upper Darby Township Council appreciates all that you do and that we have the highest respect for all veterans in our township and county and our country. You all put your lives on the line for us, and we have the freedoms we have today because of you. So we greatly appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Now I'd like to turn it back to Commander Robert Gordon, Commander American Legion.
Chaz, can we hear from the mayor of Upper Darby first?
The mayor? Sure.
Yes. Mayor Barbara Ann Keffer.
Okay, Barbara Ann Kiefer, Upper Darby Township Mayor. Barbara Ann Kiefer.
Thank you, Commander. Thank you and your organization for having this virtual ceremony, and it's great to continue the Memorial Day service in an unbroken way. And I really appreciate the slideshow because then we can really focus on what today means. And I'm honored to have been included in this as we honor those who have given their lives in all the wars and conflicts that we have as a nation engaged in. And I think during this coronavirus, we remember how very fragile our freedoms are, and it makes it all the more special that you've gone out of your way with the help of Council President Laura Wentz to put this together. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, now we'll turn it to Commander Gorman.
Yes, thank you, Chaz, and thank you all the distinguished speakers. I want to, before I get into the final part of this ceremony, I want to thank everyone who did work so hard to put this together, especially Bill Ives, the Drum and Bugle Corps historian. He conceived the idea, and he's been working tirelessly for the past 3 or 4 weeks, along with Laura Wentz, to get this done. And I really appreciate it, and I know everyone else does. Also, Justin Cohen, who is hosting the event on Zoom and YouTube. I want to thank those who participated in the event, and I want to thank all of you who are attending virtually and listening in on our ceremony. Usually at this time, I would speak about the meaning of the poppy and ask people to donate for poppies, but since we don't have that this year, we'll skip that, and I hope that perhaps at 3 o'clock, when you go on the computer, you can also find out the meaning of the poppy and how it came about. There's a poem that brought the poppy to the forefront. It was a World War I poem titled In Flanders Fields. This poem means a lot to me because my father fought in World War I, part of the 28th Keystone Division, which is the Pennsylvania Division. Right now, since I'm at home, I'm looking at a beautiful framed memorial for my father. There's a picture of him in his World War I uniform before he shipped out, a postcard that he mailed to his family, his dog tags, his World War I victory medal, and a clip of bullets from a Springfield '03 rifle, which is what they carried during World War I. I'd like to dedicate this recitation of the poem to my father. Now, the poem was written by a doctor in the Royal Canadian Medical Corps, Captain John McCrae. He wrote the poem after the Second Battle of Ypres, which took place in April of 1915, which is 2 full years before the United States entered the war. Ypres, Y-P-R-E-S, is a small town and village and river in the Flanders section of Belgium out towards the English Channel. The British troops in that sector were mostly Canadians and Irish engaged against the Germans. There were 3 battles fought at Ypres, but the second battle was the most horrendous. It raged for 2 weeks. There were over 60,000 casualties suffered, and it also marked the first time that poison gas had been used as a weapon of war, which added greatly to the horror and added greatly to the casualties. After 14 days and nights of caring for the wounded and the dying, Captain McCrae sat on the tailgate of an ambulance, saw the wild poppies growing in the makeshift graveyard, and was moved to write the poem In Flanders Fields. Here, Pop, this is for you. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row that mark our place. And in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunsets glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you, from failing hands, we throw the torch. be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with those who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. Thank you. Ordinarily now we would have a selection from the drum corps and close out our ceremony and invite everyone into the post for an open house. Obviously, we can't do that, but I hope that very soon we will all be able to assemble at the post and have an open house and renew our comradeship. Until then, stay strong, stay well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. This now concludes our Memorial Day ceremony from the Archer-Epler Post. We thank you all for joining us. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.